How's it going, guys? I just wanted to make a quick little video for you guys going over some of the mods that I have done to my 2019 Toyota 4Runner Limited Nightshade. The car is absolutely filthy right now. It hasn't been washed in about a month, but I do have a review coming out for you guys in the near future, so make sure you leave some questions down below and I will definitely answer them in the upcoming video. So nonetheless, let's get started. Coming up front, we do have a full LED conversion, so that includes the low beams, the high beams, the fog lights, and the turn signals. So first, with the headlights, the low and highs, they are both from Xenon Depot's Extreme LEDs. The high beams are actually very interesting because they have a built-in driver to control the LED voltage, so that means you can run them without any flickering, and they will also run during the day at a lower voltage, so you're not blinding people during the day with your full high beams on. So they have been fantastic so far. When you do turn on your high beams at night, they have no problem lighting up the darkness. They are actually extremely bright and can help you get out of any dark situations. The low beams are also fantastic. Nothing to complain about there. Just make sure you level them because they do get pretty bright at night. You also have the last fit LED turn signals with the built-in canvas system. Essentially, this will eliminate any of the hyper flashing that you might see on direct LED plug and plays, so that is great. They do hyper flash a little bit after about 3 minutes in some high summer heat, but other than that, they run great and no complaints there. The fog lights are basic standard fog lights off of Amazon. Nothing to complain about there either, no regrets. They do just great. Coming to the side, one of the most noticeable things is the new tire setup. So on these Limiteds, the original tire size that come on the car is a 245, I believe 60 R20. Correct me if I'm wrong. But these right now are running a 275 55 R20, and they are BF Goodrich KO2s. They have been fantastic so far. I have about 10,000 miles on them. I've done some highway driving, city driving, snow driving, a lot of wet driving, not too much off-roading, some light off-roading, but so far I can tell you they've been great. Haven't lost traction in any scenarios so far, and even in the snow, they just bite that snow and tear it up, and they are good to go. Coming a little bit deeper inside, I do have a 1-inch leveling kit up front, and it's a spacer kit from Corn-Fed Suspension. It was super easy to install. Took about a little bit of my morning on a Sunday to install, so overall a pretty good setup so far. If I take a step back, you can see it is a little bit more level with the rear, so it just gives it a little bit more of an aggressive stance. Looks great. Also in the wheel department, I do have an 1.25 inch wheel spacers on all 4 corners. They are KSP hub-centric wheel spacers, and they have been great. I did not use the red Loctite that came with the product. Instead, I used a blue Loctite that I got from just an auto parts store. I torqued them down to spec, rechecked them after 100 miles, and I'm about a couple thousand miles in. I'll have to retorque them again, but so far they have been great. No vibrations, nothing to complain about. The only issue I do have is I get some slight rubbing on the fender liner up front in reverse full lock, but other than that, not too bad, and that can be fixed with a slight fender liner pushback and a heat gun. So if I take a step back and we take a look, you can see that the tires just sit flush with the fenders. Might poke out just a tiny bit, but they look way better than what they were originally. They're so sunken in from factory on the Limiteds, so pushing it out a little bit gives a much more aggressive stance. Now, I also do have these turn signals on the mirror. These are from Cali Raised LED. They're blacked out. They get rid of the chrome, and they are sequential, which do look pretty good at night, especially with the taillights, which we'll get to in a second, which are also sequential. Coming down the sides, one other noticeable thing is that the running boards are slightly different. Usually on the 4Runner Limiteds, the running boards come down pretty low and run completely across. And if you want to run any sort of steps or an actual running boards, then they come down pretty low and you compromise a lot of your ground clearance. So I went ahead and I got the SR5 TRD side skirt kit. So that includes the end caps on the front, that small black piece of plastic that goes along the bottom of the doors, And along with that, I also got the NFAB Nerf bars. They look very similar to the Toyota Predator tube steps that you can get from factory, but I went ahead, went with the NFABs. No complaints, they have been great. They hold up really good. The powder coating holds up real good as well. They do not shake or vibrate, super strong, super stable, so no complaints there. They have been holding up very good. So taking a step back, we could see that the front windows are actually tinted. It's a little bit difficult, I've heard, to match the rear windows from factory to some sort of aftermarket tint. The closest I've gotten was this setup. I'm running a 15% up front, and in certain light scenarios, the fronts may look a little bit darker than the rears, but as you can tell right now, can't really tell a noticeable difference unless you're looking super close in person. So nothing to complain about there. I also have the banner windshield tint on the 4Runner. This is great for highway driving because it'll just keep that sun right out of your eyes, right where the tree line meets the sky. It'll just block out that sky so you don't have to stress too much about that sun getting in your eyes. That has been a great upgrade. Recommend that for any car. Walking around to the back, we could take a look at some of the minor changes that I have done back here. So first up, obviously, the taillights are different. These are the Alpha Rex Pro Series taillights in jet black, and in my opinion, I think they tie into this vehicle very well. This being a limited nightshade, having those black accents from the factory, it gets rid of that chrome and that red and replaces it with this black housing with the clear tails, which just look absolutely fantastic. I'll give you guys a little bit of a demonstration on what they look like. They have sequential turns and they're full LED. During the nighttime, they have a great running light that looks awesome. So overall, very happy with that setup right there. And one small thing before we hop into the interior and take a look at some of the small things there, I do have the AJT custom key fob finished in white with some black accents. I think it just ties in with the car perfectly. Had it for about 3 years and it hasn't failed on me, so it has been great so far. So first, I do have this small little mod that gives me a little bit more storage. As you can see, I have an emergency shovel and a tow strap just in case, but if you rip out the fabric underneath the car or underneath the seat, you can find that there's a little bit more spare room and a little metal cage that you can mount a couple things on. I did add a little bit of black felt behind that metal cage and I pretty much tied it all in together, but it was a super easy mod. It took about an hour and it gives me a little bit extra storage. And now if we hop into the driver's seat, we can see one small little thing. It's a custom part, but I do have a custom shift knob. This is a one of one. I CAD modeled it and I got it lathed. So I would like to get it powder coated black, but I just haven't had the time. But it does look good, and I think it looks a lot better than the stock shifter that comes with the car. I know there are some aftermarket options, but they can range anywhere from $70 to $200 I've seen. So that was super cheap, super fun to make, and it's just a small little custom unique piece that adds a little bit something special to this car. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any ideas on what can happen next to this car, please let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. And if you guys had a limited nightshade, what would you do with it? I want to know what you guys would do if you had this exact same platform. I do have a review coming out in the near future, hopefully in about a month, so please look out for that. And if you guys have any questions on the vehicle, please throw it in the comments and I will definitely be sure to answer your questions there.